Hey, man, we had another victory. It was a tough one. Uh, as far as that game, man, whoo. Um, I was thinking about it, man, and it at first I had a lot of mixed emotions about that game. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like how we played. We played three horrible quarters, and then we played a perfect 4 minutes, and we were able to redeem ourselves in that game. But after I got to thinking about it, man, I realized that I'm not mad at I'm not as mad as the defense as I thought I would be, because honestly we should have got blown out in that game. Four turnovers should have been an extra 28 points added onto that score, but they only got 3 points out of it. So as bad as the defense played, they actually played good because they held them to only 3 points off those turnovers. And at the end of the game, everybody stepped up to do their part to bring us back. Um, well, how did you feel about the game, man?
At first, I felt like the defense played terrible. I didn't think it was no shame in them playing terrible. For some reason, they struggle to contain scrambling mobile quarterbacks. But
Right.
after thinking about it, though, I can meet you halfway and say they didn't play terrible. They were able to, they were able to turn a lot of drives into field goals. I think they could force a couple punts. I know they forced that one where I texted you. Craig Reynolds fumbled that boy got hit, but still he fumbled it, and it made me just think like, why don't they put JMO back there to return? But anyway, just the thought of putting JMO back there, it might not help your defense, but it will help your special teams, and I feel like both of those units can improve. But
Well, you know what? Somebody said something interesting. Not to cut you off, but somebody said to your point of the JMO thing. Somebody said, why not put people's back there? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
Donovan Peoples Jones, DPJ.
Yeah, yeah. They said he's been a returner before. Him or Dorsey, because I think doesn't Khalif usually do it?
Yeah, Khalif usually do it, and that's the type of guy you would put back there. I'm not sure why you would put DPJ back there. I mean, if you're concerned about somebody catching the ball and waving for a fair catch, then I'm sure he would be great for that job. But like, if you're trying to make like a play happen or something explosive, DPJ, he's not really an explosive player. He's more of a possession. Got to have a short game. He could get you if he open deep. You could go deep to him, but as far as like explosiveness, he's not. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna change the special teams punt unit that much. Punt return unit.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
man. So, but go ahead, finish your point about the game, man. Go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
don't know, but I just thought it was a really good comeback, and I think the defense is average. I think like tomorrow against the Bears, I think you're gonna see good defense. You're gonna see a couple turnovers, you're gonna see a couple sacks. I think they're gonna be amped up. I think it's gonna be a real good Thanksgiving Day game. But like when you come across quarterbacks that's a threat, it's gonna look more like it did against the Bears and against the Eagle, against the Seahawks and against the Ravens. Them bird teams, man, we gotta stay away from them bird teams.
I just think that I don't know, man. Our whole team. What I would say is Dan Campbell said it a couple of weeks ago, and ever since he said it, I haven't seen it. Dan Campbell said that when we start playing complete football, we'll be unstoppable. And ever since he said it, we've had two shaky games. You know what I'm saying? We won them, but they've been shaky at the least. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we've lived up to that what he's trying to accomplish yet, because I see the potential, but it's all about what team shows up. Because when we playing on all cylinders, I don't think there's a team in this league that can stop us. But it just depends on what team shows up to play that day.
So I was watching Monday Night Football, and I thought about you when they interviewed Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, they was asking him what's going on, blah blah blah. Y'all got this win in Kansas City, blah blah blah. And he said, the defense bailed us out. We did what we needed to do, but it's really defense. Da, 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 da. But he finished it by saying, But you know what? We haven't played our best football yet. And every time I hear that, and when you told me Dan Campbell said that, and anytime I hear that, I like I said, I crack the joke, man. Like, who has played their best football? And I said Miami. But other than Miami, I would say all the other teams in the league feel like they haven't played their best football yet. So like, it could happen, no doubt. But it's just I don't use that. I can't see that as being advantage because I feel like everybody else in the same league got the same advantage. So it's just who shows up that day,
Right. Well, speaking of that game, man, there's been a lot of players under scrutiny for that game. In particular, JMO was under a lot of scrutiny. I think this game pulled him out of the doghouse. Hutch has been getting a lot of pressures, but he's been under scrutiny because he hasn't had a sack in a long time. People are saying they want to see more out of Hutch. Not saying that these players are bad, but they've been taking a lot of scrutiny. AG has been taking a lot of scrutiny. I don't feel that he needs to be fired, but I keep saying it. I've been saying it over and over again. I'm not always pleased with how he sticks to. He makes a game plan, and whether it works or not, he's gonna stick to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when things are not going well. I don't think he makes great adjustments. I think he needs to do a better job of that. And the last player I would say is Jack Campbell has come under a lot of scrutiny. Jack, he had a okay game, but he was out there missing a lot of tackles. Like a lot of the chunk yards that I saw him playing, man, it was just the back or whoever had the ball would put a move on him and he would just miss it and it would go for a big chunk yards. But I mean, he stepped it up, towards the end of the game and got a few tackles in. But I know he's a rookie, but he's got to get better. What do you think about these guys?
So first we can start from the top. So first we look at the Lions, and we start with all offense. Look at JMO. The things that I've been thinking about JMO this week. A couple things. First thing that pops in my head is on Monday Night Football when Patrick Mahomes throws that bomb to Valdez-Scantling and he drops it. You just think like, wow, what if JMO was catching bombs, was getting targets like that, put it like that,
Right?
And how different his career would be right now. But that being said, JMO's touchdown was the touchdown that sparked that comeback. Nobody saw that coming. Obviously, the defense didn't see it coming. They had two guys on them, but they didn't see it coming. So, it's interesting. I didn't hear it, but there was a quote, not a quote, but there's a sound clip of Dan Campbell giving some love to JMO, which I think is huge because, as we all know, Dan Campbell's not one to sugarcoat it. He pretty much going to tell you as close to how it is as he can without being wild about it. So to hear him say something good about JMO was good in his favor. Like I said, he caught that ball to get him back in the game. And I think tomorrow you're going to see a pretty good JMO game. You might see another touchdown and another big play. He might put up some yards this game. I wouldn't be surprised if he put up some yards this game. Not just one big play is what I'm saying.
Right.
Real quick, as far as the defense, I think this team is going to be the old Rams teams with Jared Goff. Yeah, they had Aaron Donald. Eventually, they went and grabbed Jalen Ramsey on the tail end of Goff being there. But really, that team was going to shoot it out with you. They won that game in Mexico against the Chiefs. I think like 50, whatever it was, 50 in the 50s. And I think that's a team that if you want to win with the current roster as it is, that's the type of football you're going to have to play. So when Jared Goff came out last game, he just looked so sad. Like he didn't know they had a game today. Like that, I think that he's the one guy that can't come out like that. Anybody else on the team
Right.
come out like that, but if he comes out like that, that's the type of game you're gonna see. And watching it, it just felt like somebody needed to save him. Somebody needed to save him, and Jahmyr Gibbs didn't get the ball like I thought he might. David Montgomery sure didn't get the ball like I thought he would, but both of those guys, whenever they got the ball, they made stuff happen. So much so that it was kind of curious that they didn't just come out with the game plan and just run it. But, it worked out at the end of the day. But as long as Jared Goff comes out right and that offense comes out right, it's going to make the defense look 10 times better or worse, depending on what they do.
Okay. You got any thoughts on AG or Jack Campbell?
No, I think they go hand in hand and they go with the offense. So if you get rid of AG and bring somebody else in, they're going to look better, but they're only going to look better because the defensive roster has only gelled more and gotten better and gotten, more reps together. So you could get rid of them, but it's really not going to change much. As long as Dan Campbell is the coach there, I think he's going to have a final say in the type of philosophy. And if you don't like it, he's going to let you know. They be asking him questions and people be reading into it like, yeah, AG went a little rogue on that one, type of stuff like that. That's just little vibes that I be getting when I listen to him talk. But Jack Campbell, he I think he's hit like he's hit a mid-season rut. Definitely, he a rookie. He had a slow start to the season, kind of got involved, but now, starting to wear and tear. It's rookie season. But I think same thing. If you keep him around, you keep AG around, they both gonna continue to get better. And I'm not saying get rid of any of them, but if you were to theoretically get rid of them, you still gonna see an improvement because the guys that are there, they just gonna get better.
And also my Hutch, he's been kind of quiet. He's been getting his pressures, but a lot of people have leapfrogged him in the DN rankings. He finally had a clutch play to end the game. Knocked a forced fumble, safety, and he punted the ball out the end zone. A lot of people are wondering, is Hutch a top 10 DN in this league?
Ooh. He will be. He's not yet, but he will be. Right now he feels like another guy that me and you was hard on, and it seems like right after we got hard on him, this dude really woke up. I'm not saying it's because we talked about him, but I'm just saying that we saw.
It's because we talked about him,
huh?
It's because we talked about him.
It's like we both watch football, but we kind of see some things in different ways. We see the same thing, but we value something else over something else or something like that.
Right.
But as far as Aaron Donald, I remember we said that Aaron Donald, respect, but I'm not seeing this game record, he not changing the game out there. Like I feel like it's like one or two, it's like 3 or 4 plays a game where you see Ndamukong Suh and you like, oh, there goes Suh,
Right.
But you never really got that with Aaron Donald. But you got the stats and all of that, all the analytics and all of that. And then the season after that, my man went on a tear. So shout out to Aaron Donald.
Went crazy. Yeah, he went crazy.
He went crazy, and that's how I feel about Hutch, man. I feel like Hutch is making those analytic plays, those defensive QB pressures. I feel like he's getting there, and he's respected, but he still got to kick it into that Aaron Donald gear, and that's gonna come because it took Aaron Donald like 5-6 years. I feel like before I was like,
yeah,
that guy is for real.
Yeah, man. I think Hutch is a top talent, man. I think he has the potential to be the best in the league, man. He just gotta he's like literally an arm length away because he's always right there looking the quarterback in the eyes. He just can't grab him. You know what I'm saying? He's like always like right next to him, but you just can't grab him and get him on the ground. So I think once he learns how to make that, to me it feels like he has a great first move, and he just doesn't know how to get that shed move at the last minute. to complete his process. And once he learns how to do that, he's gonna be unstoppable, man. Um, to your point earlier, we got to talk about Jared Goff, man, because Jared Goff had a horrible 3 quarters, man. He had a horrible 3.5 quarters. Can't even say 3.5 because the Bears had the ball for 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. But he had a horrible 3 quarters, and then he had a perfect 4 minutes. And a lot of people were out here giving him praise for that game, which I'm not mad at because he did play a perfect 4 quarters. But I just don't think we can let go that he is part of the reason we were in that position in the first place. Do you think we've been talking about his contract for a while? Do you think that he hurt his chances for an extension? He solidified it with the comeback. What are your thoughts on what that game did for his chances for an extension? Or how do you feel about keeping him here for long term?
I think that at the end of the season, we're gonna throw that game away. It would be one of the few games where you could be like, man, like this is obviously his worst game of the year. So you could probably take his best game of the year, take his worst game of the year, throw those out, and then everything else is what you probably are going to end up judging him on. If he were to come out tomorrow and look like that, then you would have a problem. You have to everything is off the table. Now we kind of back to not square one, but we got some more evaluation to do. Right now, I think they just wanted to finish the year. I just think they want to finish the year, and not even just like they don't want it to be premature. It's like I feel like it'll reach a point where it's like, all right, we're gonna give him this extension no matter what, and that's kind of where I feel like they are right now. Because I think as long as he wins the division, he's gonna get that extension, and anything short, that's pretty much the only way that he would miss out on that contract.
I'm kind of shaky on it. I don't want to bash Jared Goff because man, the last 2 seasons he's been having an amazing season. Me and you were down bad on Jared. There's still a few things that raises my eyebrows every now about him, but I can't doubt that he's been playing elite football these past 2 seasons. And like I was just telling you, I was just watching Bye Bye Barry. That's a great documentary on Prime. If you haven't seen it and you're a Detroit fan, you're a Barry fan, you need to go check that out. But one of the things that caught my attention about that is that Barry in the 91 season, it was his 3rd year in, they went to the NFC Championship game. And that team reminds me a lot of the team we have now. And the main thing that he was saying was after that season, they went to the NFC Championship game, they lost. And he was saying that he thought that, well, it's only my 3rd year in. We done made it to the NFC Championship game. We'll have plenty of opportunities to get back to the NFC Championship. We'll be back. But shortly after that, the salary cap came in. Guys started leaving. Lomas went somewhere else. A couple other players went to other teams. And those players went off and they won Super Bowl championships everywhere else. But the Lions decided to pay Scott Mitchell. And they never made it back to the NCAA championship. They never made it back to the NFC championship ever again. And I think ultimately that was one of the things that made the Lions who they are, because if they could use that money to pay the guys that left instead of Scott Mitchell, then I think we would be talking about a different Lions team to this day. And I feel like it's similar to, we're in a similar position now. When Jared Goff contract comes up, if you pay him, do you lose all the guys on our offense that make us the team that we are now? And do those guys go off to other teams and win Super Bowls, and here we are stuck not getting that far for another 40 years.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying, and it's a tough question, and I feel like it's not a right or wrong answer to it. It's one of those things where you just kind of gotta be in the locker room, and you gotta know those guys. You know, if you could go back in time, you would have to ask the GM at the time, like, is Scott Mitchell that guy, or is the team that guy? You know, or the
Scott
team.
Mitchell was not that guy.
So
I'm sorry.
but no,
I'm
I mean
sorry. Go
that's the
ahead.
question you have to ask. So you saying no, he's not the guy, but then you would go in that locker room today and say, hey, is Jared Goff that guy? And you might get a different answer. You might get the same answer. You know, it's hard. That's a judgment call that it's up to Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and to some degree Sheila to make that decision, make that call, because the thing is that if it is the right guy, now you got an identity. If you go out and get another quarterback, you are essentially changing your identity. You could change your identity to be better. Like we could become like some crazy running game offense, West Coast offense type. I mean, we could do that too, but it's just all about the quarterback. And right now, you kind of got a system in place. You know, when you bring guys in, you know kind of where they fit in because you know what the team needs. You know what Goff likes. We know how Goff likes to play. And so, you know, if you bring another quarterback, you kind of changing the system for all the guys that you kind of got in place. So if it works out for the better, you got a bridge to carry you to maybe a better quarterback. You give yourself time, you give yourself wins while you're developing another quarterback. It's a great position to be in. As far as paying the players that make up the team, that's a good question. You know, you got to be smart with your franchise tags. You got to be smart with trades. You got to be good with the draft. And some guys you have to pay. Like it's a whole complicated thing. And like I said, I don't really think it's a right or wrong answer. That's just my opinion. Hey, you got anything? You got anything for that?
So far, Brad Holmes has been making the right decisions. I am not. There are a lot of people who are mad with some of the decisions that Brad Holmes makes. I am not. I think we will get a couple of key pieces that we're missing next year. But so far, I've been glad with the decisions that Brad Holmes. He's brought us a long way from the team that we used to be for over, I'm gonna say 50 years, and I've never seen a GM as good as the one we have right now. So I think he'll make the right decisions. That being said, uh, it is a tough decision. Jared Goff right now does look like that guy. He does look like that guy. But what I will say is the thing that makes it difficult for me is that I see a room like a lot of people say, "Oh, he's a lead quarterback." You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to mess with that? Who's going to be better? And I can see potential to be better, to have a better quarterback. But with how Jared Goff is playing right now, do you want to mess with that chemistry? Like just because you get a better quarterback doesn't mean he'll have the same chemistry with the team that Jared Goff has with the team now. So that's going to be a hard decision for Brad Holmes. But with that being said, I believe in what he's got going on.
So I got a question for you about contracts. Since we're talking about contracts, if you are Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons come up to you with a contract extension, do you take a contract extension with the Detroit Pistons?
I don't know. If I'm Cade Cunningham, I think me in the front office, all the people in the front office will have to sit down and talk to me about the direction of this team. Like, what are the plans for the next couple of years? Let me know that, and when they tell me what the plan is, I would have to make my decision based off that. I think that me personally, I like the players that they've acquired around them, but it doesn't seem to be working out. I don't know if that's a culture issue or the players just not that they're bringing in are just not the right fit for this team. So you will have to convince me that it's in my best obligation to stay here.
Over the summer, I made it my own personal campaign to tell everybody that the Pistons have the worst roster in basketball. And other than the Charlotte Hornets, I think the Charlotte Hornets was the only team that somebody actually came back, and I struggled with proving my case for them. So I was like, all right, fair enough. We are worst or second worst team in the league, no problem. But the point was that I thought that we were going into the season with the idea that Cade and Ivy was our starting backcourt.
Yeah,
And my
definitely.
biggest thing was I cannot see a world where Cade and Ivy work out as a backcourt. And fast forward to today, they are not playing as a backcourt. Ivy's coming off the bench and Cade is starting. So for whatever reason, man, there's been a lot of interest in the Pistons and how bad they are recently, and I love it. I'm here for it. Like I said, I felt like they've been bad, and I've been trying to tell people. And so, they did do some moves in this free agency. I'll talk about that in a second. But my thing is, I like what you said. Cade would have to sit down with the brass and see what they say. The thing is, are they lying to you? Who knows? You got to figure that out. Maybe they think that they brought in people this year, and not a lot of people are thrilled with the free agency of this year. But I digress. The point is, these next 20 games are going to be a really good measuring stick for what the Pistons could be. I still think they're going to have a losing record, but I think you're going to see about, I'd say, at least 6-7 more wins in the next 20 games, which isn't anything special at all. It's still bad, but I think what would help this team the most, like if I was the coach of this team, I would have to sit down with Cade and be like, look, man, do you want to be the point guard or do you want to win? And if he says he wants to win, I think you move Cade to the shooting guard position, put him at the 2, and you make Ivy the 1 and let Ivy bring up the ball. Cade is a better shooter than Ivy. So if Cade can find himself open on the wing, he can knock down that 3-point shot. A lot of people are saying that he takes too many contested mid-range shots. So take the pressure off of him, because that's what Cade really needs, is somebody to help take the pressure off of him so he can get a good look.
Duh. I promise you, I think I said that like a year and a half ago. I promise you, I think I said that.
You did say it. You said, well, I remember being outside and he was like, well, what if, because I kept telling you that Ivy is not a shooter. And he was like, but what about Cade? And the same thing I said then is the same thing I said now. It's like, there's no basketball reason why you shouldn't make that move. It's just about ego. So, you are the point guard. Like, this is my team. I'm the point guard. So you got to relinquish that title to Ivy. On top of that, Monty Williams has to, co-sign on this, because there's a room, it's not a secret, but people are like, Ivy and Monty Williams are not getting along. So, Ivy's gotten more playtime since he's came back from his illness, but it's just a lot. Like, that's a big move, man. That's like benching your starting quarterback.
So look, you asked me a question. I want to take that question and expand on it. So if you're Cade and it's time for you to re-sign this contract, do you go in with the mindset of, I know you just got a new coach, but so far, all this miracle talk that they said is not working out. Do you want them to fire Monty and Troy Weaver?
If you got to go in there and do all of that, then don't sign that contract. Because you just got your franchise to waste 10, what is it? I don't know what's this a contract for?
$100 million.
$100 million. You just got your franchise to waste $100 million. There's no coming back from that.
I mean, but but the owner paid that. I mean, so the owner's probably not gonna fire the coach. But what about just Troy Weaver?
Troy Weaver, people are talking about should they try to fire Troy Weaver, and I don't think they should fire Troy Weaver. I think they should give Troy Weaver the rest of the year at the very least. I think that Duran is practicing again, and Bogdanovich kind of got the green light to start practicing as well. And the wild card is Monty Morris. It's very, very local Detroit controversial tweet came out by Monty Morris because for some reason the Pistons organization, they released a injury report, and it said that Duran is practicing, Bogdanovich is practicing, but it said that Monty Morris is going to be reevaluated in like 6 to 8 weeks, which sounds like. And then after that came out, it was a tweet going around talking about Monty Morris put up. It said cap, they lying. So what are they lying about? Are like my mind starts thinking, are you going to be back sooner, or are you going to be back later, or is that something that's completely unrelated? But the thing is, he took it down after he put it up, so who knows? But usually when they say he's going to be reevaluated in 6 to 8 weeks, like that's a guarantee. They're not going to come back before that. They might come back at 6 weeks, or they might extend it to another thing. So it kind of, the internet is thinking like he's not going to play for the Pistons. But if he did, that's a guy, like it would be hard to take the mantle from Cade and give it to Ivy, but it would be much easier to take it from Cade as just a point guard. I shouldn't say the mantle, but point guard position. You take the point guard.
He's still your star.
Huh?
Cade is still your star, but you just let Ivy run the point.
Yeah, but I can see it working better if you let Morris run the point. But Morris has got to get back first. So if Morris don't come back, then that throws that out the window. But Morris is a veteran. He's been in the league for like 6-7 years, and his position has always been point guard. So if you paid him, people talk about Joe Harris. I think Joe Harris was the highest signing we had, but Monty Williams was second. I'm not Monty Williams. Monty Morris was second.
So let's get balls deep down in this. Okay. From with your opinion, what is it gonna take and when do you see the Pistons being successful, and what is it gonna take for them to get there? How many years do you see for this franchise to be successful? Me, I personally think it's the chemistry. I think that these guys really haven't played together all these years. Well, not all these years, because it's only been a few years. But I think that they haven't really played together. They don't have the chemistry. They don't know that. They don't have an identity. They don't have the chemistry. So what is it going to take for these guys to be successful, and how long is it going to take, realistically?
It's not going to be this year. It's not going to be next year. And by that time, you would have had to extend Cade or traded him. And assuming that you do one of those two things, I think it'll be 3 years from now before they flirt with 500.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's it's a sad outlook, but like I said, they have Duran and they have Cade, and that's like it. Then they have a bunch of other guys that you're not sure what you're going to get out of them, and that's not a good recipe at all.
So I mean, because they got Duran, he's good, right?
Yeah, Duran. Yeah, stay healthy.
All right. You agree that Ivy is a good player, right?
Yeah, Ivy could be a starting piece if you play him in the right position.
You think Sasser is a good player, right?
I think Detroit got a little bit excited with Sasser, but I think in 3 to 4 years, I think he'll be a good player.
And Asar has impressed you since he's been playing. He's been exceeded your expectations, right?
Yes.
So that's about 5 players that you agree are good. So why is it that they are the worst team, the worst roster in basketball?
Because if you did the same thing with any other starting rotation in the league, I would say that those players are good too. And probably would be a little bit better. Most of them are gonna be like, even if like Tyrese Halliburton, right? That's the hot name right now. Tyrese Halliburton. Uh, the other day the Hawks and the Pacers played, and Halliburton had 37 somewhere in the third quarter. I don't know what he finished with, but Halliburton is controversial in Detroit because the Pistons could have took Halliburton. They was right there on the clock. A lot of people had them taking Halliburton. Troy Weaver, I don't know, he went left and he grabbed Killian Hayes. So, right now, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they talking about Tyrese Halliburton is playing like the best point guard in the basketball right now. And he could have been a Piston. He was right there, but we passed on him. And now we just looking at Killian Hayes, and I think Troy Weaver is like stubborn. They talked about Brad Holmes. Every player that Brad Holmes has drafted still on the roster. So whether you good or you bad, and most of them aren't bad, but some of them like Levi Onwuzurike, I think you could let him go. I really do. Hey,
I
we
won't be
wish you
mad at that.
we wish you the best, but we ain't seen you, man. Like, you been here what, 3 years?
Yeah, and if he doesn't step up in the last half of this season, I think they will part ways with Levi.
That's cool. That
Um,
would be a good thing to see. But my point is, did you see that Brad Holmes don't let his guys go, and Troy Rivers not letting his guys go, which is that's a dangerous way to live as a GM, because you might hit your cart to the wrong wagon, and you just going down with the ship basically. So Tyrese Halliburton dropped 37 by the third quarter. Killian Hayes hasn't even seen 37 like in his whole career. And Halliburton averages, I mean, I'm joking, but for real, he damn near averages 30 points, 15 assists on a given, once a week he'll get that for you. So
my
my
last
thing,
thing.
huh?
Go ahead.
No, I was
Go
just
ahead.
saying my thing is like, yeah, I see potential in Asar, and I see potential in Sasser, and I see potential in all these guys, but I see game and like the guys that they didn't take. Like, I don't need to see potential. Like, it's there. Like, I don't need to look and peek around the bushes. Like, it's there. Like, it's no question. And I feel like the Pistons haven't hit on many guys like that.
So my last question will be: do you think the Pistons get rid of Killian?
I think if Killian makes it past, I think he's due for a contract this year, maybe. So I think if he makes it past the, if he's on the roster next year, and this year is the last year on his contract, and he's on the roster next year, then I think Troy Weaver going down with the ship. I think if he's gone, then Troy Weaver is going to try to save his job and do what he can.
Okay. Well, okay. I guess we'll see y'all in 3 years, Pistons fans.
Yeah, the best I could give you, man, is move Cade to the 2 and have somebody else run point. That's the best I could give you, and you'll
Man, I
succeed.
swear, I really like to see Jaden run point, man. I would really like to see what that team looks like. But moving on, man. We got Green Bay coming into Ford Field tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the game, man?
I can't find any way to respect the Bears. I can't find any way to respect the Packers. Jordan Love can move. Like, if you told me Jordan Love is gonna go out and he's gonna run for like 75 yards, I'd be like, oh man, that's gonna be a tight game. Because I think he has the capability to do that, but I don't think that that's within the system. He would kind of have to freestyle it, and he don't strike me as like having much freestyle to his game. He more of a system rhythm quarterback. But yeah, if he kind of goes like the Marcus Mariota, that's what I envision. Like, if you told me that Jordan Love was dangerous, it was because he started playing like Marcus Mariota, where he does like 1, 2, all right, tuck it and run. Straight up the middle too. Never like no crazy. Just 1, 2 straight up the middle. And if Jordan Love gets that game down, then yeah, we might be in for a game tomorrow.
Well, I think that Jordan Love is slightly mobile, but he's not that mobile. He's not one to run first. Green Bay has been literally since Aaron Rodgers left has literally been on the back of Aaron Jones, and he's not playing tomorrow. I don't think that the Packers are a team that we should be worried about, but I thought the same thing about the Bears. So once again, it's what Lions team shows up tomorrow. I think we should go out and win this game handily. But there's always that chance that they could come out and just come out flat and play flat, which I don't think they will. But what I'm saying, there is that chance. So I don't think that you can take the Packers lightly, but I don't think we should have any problems with them. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty Demont will have a great game tomorrow. I think that our offense should come out. They should come out fired up. If we could take that momentum that we had in the last 4 minutes of that game and play like that for a full game, then that would be. I don't think that we'll be stoppable. If the defense could come out and put a resemblance of the defense that I know they can be up, then once again, I think that there's no way that they should be able to compete with us. Plus, with all the injuries that Green Bay has, it shouldn't be a problem. Um, One of the problems that I've been seeing in the last game is the same problems that we always have. Pressure on the quarterback, coming out flat in the third quarter, and sometimes in the red zone our offense fizzles out. So I think those are flaws. I don't know what we need to do to correct those, but I think those are flaws that we need to work on.
Yeah, I would say looking at it, I'm sure it'll be a pretty good running game. I think the running game is usually pretty consistent for us, and it's always there when we need it. I think the only, I think the only crazy thing you might see tomorrow, like I said, I think J-Mo, just the way they talking about him, I think they go ahead and get him out there, get him featured. You might see like 3 catches and like 50 plus yards and a touchdown. You also got to watch out for those Green Bay wide receivers. Those guys are speedy and crafty. If you give them the space, they'll get you with the yards after catch. But other than that, I got the Lions winning pretty handily, like 31-13, 31-16. I'll give them 16.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that score. I agree with that score. I got a quick question. One of those picks that Jared Goff threw was to Donovan People-Jones, and I just want to know: do you think they were trying to force the ball to him on that play? Do you think they were just trying to get him into the game? Because I was like, who's 19? And I was like, oh, that's DPJ. So do you think that was the factor of them trying to force the ball to him?
Nah, I mean, just listening to the tea leaves and everything I could get from the Lions and Jared Goff himself and all of that. That guy is just a guy of pattern, consistency. And if he's not comfortable doing it, it's gonna look bad. And that was this whole thing with J-Mo, and I don't think they're still there, but they getting there. J-Mo, we gotta play more together. We gotta play more together. We all know Amon Ra's guy. For whatever reason, him and Laporta, they linked up no problem. He's got that rapport with Josh Reynolds, and he's got that rapport with Khalif. And yeah, he's trying to get J-Mo into the fold, and People-Jones just got here. So, if J-Mo been here all this time, and I don't know, People-Jones might have to wait a minute. So I just think that was just not enough practice. I sound like a Lion person right now, but I just think it was just them not having enough repetition together yet.
And speaking of the offense, man, we got to talk about Ben Johnson real quick. Two things. Ben Johnson, I love Ben Johnson, man. Everybody's been talking about he's a genius coordinator, and he's turned this Lions team around. I'm gonna say he's one of the people that's turned his Lions teams around. Sometimes it feels like he should be creative and he's not, and then sometimes it feels like uh he tries to get too creative, you know what I'm saying, and it backfires on him. Like sometimes, like it was a 3rd and 2 and they dropped back to throw the ball. I mean, was it 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2? No, it was 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2. And the running game was working great, and we could have just handed the ball off, and I'm sure we would have got it those 2 yards. But what ended up happening was a guy comes on block straight to Jared Goff. He throws a bad pass, and we end up punting. Which is another problem. Like, why do people keep coming unblocked on the offensive on the offensive side of the ball? Like it's been a couple of games where people just not getting blocked at all. But anyway, and then you have this thing. And my second thing is you have this thing where people think that when Ben Johnson leaves, the offense will regress, because that's why a lot of people are getting upset. They think our window is now. Ben Johnson is going to leave, and when he does leave, our offense is going to regress.
Just while he was talking, I started thinking about it, and he was like, they could have just ran the ball, and I agree with you. They could have just ran that ball. They could have ran that ball all day, and I think they would have been fine. I think it would have been a much closer, a much, a less nerve-wracking win if they would just ran the ball. It would have been a much easier win. But
right,
why did that happen? Was that Ben Johnson? I would say I would agree that was Ben Johnson. I felt like he, this coaching staff is built on aggression. It's built on grit, and under the underlying tone is aggression. And I don't think that just stops with Dan Campbell. I think that runs through the whole coaching staff. So I think that Ben Johnson saw this game against the Chicago Bears at home, and he was like, we could do some things in this game. We could put up some yards on these guys. And for whatever reason, Jared Goff was not prepared for that. I don't know if he was watching old film or what, or no film or what, but he just wasn't prepared for that. And while Ben Johnson was trying to put them away, it ended up having a reverse effect. We ended up falling into a hole, and we couldn't get ourselves out until we, like you said, relied on the running game. So, I'm not mad at Ben for that. I'm not mad at Jared for that. I just think that they kind of got away from their identity, which is, like you said, run the ball.
Do you think if Ben Johnson leaves that we are still a top offense in this league, or do you think we fall back?
I think if he leaves, we would be fine, honestly.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, only because, like, one thing about Goff, say what you will about his physical ability, his mental ability, I gotta say, is pretty high up there. Sometimes his mental is faster than his physical, and stuff moves too fast for him. But it's one thing for it to move too fast for you, but it's another thing if it's moving too fast and you don't know what to do. I'm sure he knows what to do, but sometimes it just moves too fast, and that's when you start seeing these mistakes happen on the field. But I think if Ben Johnson leaves, his whole scheme, like I said, realistically, you're not going to be able to keep Ben Johnson, but you will be able to keep Jared Goff. And as long as you keep some semblance of a system in place, then you will be fine. But like if you was to lose both of them, say that was to happen, yeah, we would. That would be tough. That would be a tough blow. But as long as you keep one, I think it'll be all right.
I think as long as we keep Jared Goff protected, we'll be fine. And so that means if next year you have to draft a couple of linemen, because I know I don't know I know we're gonna lose Big V. I don't know how long we're gonna have Taylor Decker and Ragnow or Jonah. But I think if we draft a linebacker, not saying that they got to be first round, but if we draft some linemen, then I think it'll be okay. It seems like as long as Jared is not under a whole lot of pressure, then he does good. And he's actually been doing a little bit better under pressure than the panicky golf that I've seen in the past.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. Real quick, what you got on this Michigan Ohio State Saturday?
I'm not sure really what to think about it. I think that Michigan will win the game, but they got a lot going on in Michigan right now. With Harbaugh being suspended, even though I don't think that should be too much of a blow, because it's not like he's not there coaching the team all throughout the week. It's not like, you know what I'm saying, they're in trouble for cheating, so it's not like he's not going to have a headset on in some hotel room via satellite and is not going to be telling them what to do step by step, you know what I'm saying, watching the game on TV and telling them, step by step what to do. So I think Michigan should win this game, but it does factor in that he's not there physically on the team, and Ohio State has been looking okay this year. So I still think they win, but if they lose, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think on paper, Ohio State is playing better football right now. They've played some rough games. I believe they went to Penn State, and I know they went to Notre Dame, and they won both of those games. They played another good team in there too, but they keep coming out on top.
Michigan, they should have lost to Notre Dame. The Notre Dame coaches messed that up.
Michigan, their toughest game this year seems like it was against Maryland.
Penn State. Oh, Maryland.
Yeah, no, they it should have been Penn State, but they kind of handled Penn State in that second half. But Maryland, they really struggled against them last week, and now people are I'm hearing this. JJ McCarthy isn't at 100%. Rumor going around. Donovan Edwards has had he hasn't had the season that he was hoping for when he started the season.
And he's had a disappointing season.
Yeah, for that matter, Blake Corum has been playing well, but he hasn't had the season that he was hoping for. And they got Roman Wilson. I'm pretty sure that's their go-to receiver. I think he's questionable. And it's a lot of stuff out there. And on top of that, Harbaugh's not going to be there. And not having Harbaugh, I think it's going to make a difference. It's just in the back of everybody's head. If stuff starts to hit the fan, you got to wonder, does it people think like, hey, if Harbaugh was here, he would know what to do? And you kind of start questioning, So the seed is there. Can they overcome it? I'm sure they can. They at home. They are favored to win the game. And for whatever reason, JJ McCarthy plays like a totally different guy when Ohio State comes around. So I agree with you. I can see it going both ways. On paper, though, I might take it's up to 3 now, I think, but I have to take the points with Ohio State.
Yeah, like I said, if Ohio State came out and won, because they have been playing good football, I think Michigan should win this game, but I think Ohio has the potential to take it. It's kind of like what I've been saying with the Lions. It depends on what Michigan's team shows up. Michigan usually does get amped up for these games, and they play better football, and they haven't really played anybody this year. but they just have to come out here and they definitely got to come out here and play their best ball if they want to beat Ohio. But I mean, we have to see what happens, man. Edwards is definitely going to have to stay up. I mean, step up the games they played him. I think he had a great game. Like you said, Corbin's been playing good, but he's got to be an overachiever this game. And JJ McCartney is definitely going to have to play well in order to compete with Marvin out there. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what they do with it.
All right. So we talked about the Lions. Lions
Oh,
get.
I got one more question about the Lions, and then we can go around. Last week around the league.
Yeah.
C CJ CD Deuce, whatever you want to call him, came out after the game. He was amped up. You know what I'm saying? He was feeling it. He was talking a whole bunch of junk like he always does, and he said that he'd be back in 2 or 3 weeks. But when they asked Dan Campbell about it, Dan Campbell was like, I don't know about that." What do you think, man? Does the CD Deuce play this year?
No. I think I think he does everything in his power. I think you're gonna see him on the sideline towards the end of the year. I think he's gonna be like the loudest cheerleader in the building, but I can't say that. I can't say. I would go as far as to say, man, I'm not sure if you see him suit up for the Lions again.
Wow. So if he doesn't come back and play, you think you don't think they bring him back for next year? You think they move on from CJ?
Yeah, I think they will move on. Just because I could be wrong, but he just doesn't strike me as he don't strike me as he strikes me as a 1 year guy. Like he goes from one team to the next. I can kind of see that contract to contract. Is this his home? I don't know. I don't think so, but you might feel different.
This might be I think that CJ is a leader. I think the team has a different attitude when he's out there on the field. So if they brought him back, I wouldn't be mad at it. But if they moved on from him, I would need to see the game plan for who would be the top DBs on the team next year. Because while I love Cam Sutton, you made the point that Cam Sutton is a second receiver, even though he's been playing lights out. I got to give it to Cam Sutton. He's been playing pretty good. But I would like to see who is that guy. I mean, you could arguably say that Brian Branch is his replacement, but while Brian Branch does have the potential to be a better DB in the long run than CJGJ. CJGJ is a leader and the best player in that DB core right now.
I think he's this year's Dane. What's that? I think he's this year's Jamal Williams.
That's
Yeah.
kind of disrespectful.
Whoa. All the Detroit people love Jamal Williams. Like, oh, that's our guy. He cried for the team. That's our guy. He broke Barry's record for touchdowns.
I like Jamal Williams as a person, but telling why CJGZ is a better DB than Jamal Williams was a running back.
Yeah, he may be, but personally, I don't feel like he's that much. Like if Jamal Williams was a C plus running back, I feel like Gardner Johnson is a B minus DB.
I rank him slightly higher, but okay, I can see that.
To your point, I think Brian Branch could be a B minus safety next year. So I think I would be okay if they let him go ahead and go. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually making he's one of the higher paid players on his team.
Oh, CJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely is.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he definitely is because he
so
he was
think about it. I
he was lead,
mean, you
he
eight and
was leading
two.
the league in interceptions last year.
Yeah, but you 8-2, and he's played 2 games.
Yeah. But before he went out, he was definitely out there making plays. And
Sure.
your and this is my point. Your DB crew has been sustainable and they've been better than they have last year, but they haven't been elite. So like who do you replace them with? Like who do you get to come out there to make your DB core elite? Do you do it through the draft? Do you go out and get guys through free agency? I mean, do you trade for somebody? We all know that Brad Holmes is not big on trades. He's big um on going through the draft, but I feel like the top move next year will be a D lineman instead of DB.
Yeah, I mean, you already know that one, man. They're not gonna go out and they're not gonna go out and get that top free agent. That's not their style. They're not gonna trade for somebody trying to get out of their contract. They, like you said, they're gonna go out and they're gonna find somebody in the draft. Exciting player. He's gonna be an exciting guy. He's gonna be an exciting guy in the draft, and they're gonna keep. They might bring in a veteran free agent you know that's right on the like he's a good player, but nobody really wants to commit to him, so he's just kind of floating around, and that's the type of guys they look for. And hey, if it works out, that's what the team is built on. This team is built on journeyman, and the only way you're gonna be a star on this team is if you come up as a journeyman. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, or Penei Sewell. He got drafted, but he had to accept that. But yeah, no, they're not gonna go out and get the big name. You gotta earn that on this team, which is how that's how they operate. As long as they got an offense, man, I'm not mad on how they do it. That was always my thing. Was I wanted them to build a team that could shoot it out with anybody, and it took a while, but that's kind of where they are now.
So your final thing is that CJGJ is gone and they replace him with the draft through the draft.
Yeah, this is like I said, man. This defense is interchangeable. You you could pull anybody out and replace them with anybody else, and the how much it changes is only going to alter very ever so slightly.
All right, man. Well, we going on an hour. Let's go around the league. Last week's picks.
Last week we had pretty much a bunch of similar picks. I had we both was on Detroit with the -7.5. Chicago won that one as far as the spread. We were both on the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure they blew out Carolina. Yeah, they blew out Carolina.
They did.
The Raiders and Miami was 13.5. Miami was given 13.5. I went with the Raiders just because I felt like they was playing pretty good ball to the point where they should be able to cover, and they did. It was close, but they only lost by 7. On the flip side, I took Tennessee. You took Jacksonville. Jacksonville was given 7. Jacksonville blew Tennessee out. Tennessee was struggling terribly. You think Mike Vrabel gets fired?
Yeah, they need to make some changes on the Tennessee team. Tennessee shouldn't be as bad as they are, man. Um, Will Levis is not the answer. Um, uh, uh, Derrick Henry should be a way better running back than what he is. They got D Hopkins, and that didn't make a difference. So Tennessee should be a better team than what they are, and they're not. So yeah, if he gets fired, I can see that.
Arizona and Houston. We was both on Houston, but I think Arizona at least covered. It was closer than we expected.
I got a question for you. Well, I heard that he actually threw a couple of picks in this game, but it's being talks that CJ Stroud may be rookie of the year. What do you think?
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely in that conversation. It's not too many people that's competing with him, especially at quarterback. If you a quarterback and you consider for rookie of the year, it's kind of hard for anybody to beat you from a position wise. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Unless he has a falls off a cliff this next half of the season, man, I don't see nobody stopping him. I think it's a little aggressive, but I've even heard people saying that he might be MVP.
Dan Orlovsky was trying to say that Teddy Bruschi wasn't having it. He was like, "Come on, now. Come on, man. It was good though." Let me see. The Giants in Washington. I took the Giants because Washington was giving 8.5, and I said there was no way that Washington should give anybody 8.5. And I was right. The Giants messed around and won that game. Shout out Tommy DeVito.
Oh, don't shout out Tony DeVito, man. That was an anomaly. It'll never happen again. People try to hype him. The Tommy DeVito, man, get the fuck out of here. He had a good game. I think it was more so Washington messing up more so than the Giants playing good.
So we was pretty much the same on all these other games. Seattle and LA, you was on Seattle originally, but you was like a Stafford play, you kind of leaning towards LA. Stafford played and it didn't matter. They lost. Rams suck. Minnesota and Denver. The spread was 2.5. Denver was given 2.5. And I took Minnesota. You took Minnesota. I took Denver, and they had a chance to cover. They could have, if they could have made a 2-point conversion at the end, but they did not. So you got that game, and Philly and KC.
Minnesota lost, right?
Huh?
Minnesota lost that game.
Minnesota lost, but they covered the spread though.
Oh, they covered. I'm so glad. I'm so glad they lost though.
And then Philly and KC, you had Philly, I had KC, and couldn't nobody catch the ball for KC, so Philly won that game.
Yeah, man, I was mad that even though I called it, I was mad that the Philly won that game because the Philly had lost that game on Monday, and the Detroit loses tomorrow. We will be the number 1 seed on Friday.
Yeah, I think we would have won yesterday. Period. We would have been number 1 because I think of like our strength of schedule. They said we got the better strength of schedule right now.
Oh, okay.
But we ain't gonna go all the way around the league. We just gonna do Thanksgiving because we might get back together again before this Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah, so you got Packers. We got Packers and Lions 7.5. You said you going Lions?
Yeah, man, I agree with you on your score. 31-17 sounds about right.
All right, yeah, I'm going Lions too. I think J-Mo has a good game, and Lions win big. Washington is going to Dallas, and Dallas is giving 12.5.
I will take Washington with the points. I do think that Dallas will win that game, but I think Washington will cover the spread.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. It is Thanksgiving, and Washington's been getting by. You know what? I'm talking myself into it. Washington has been getting by with that defense, but Dallas is kind of hot right now, and you might miss Montez Sweat and Chase Young in this game. We'll see. Just for fun, I'll take Dallas 12.5. San Francisco is going to Seattle, and San Francisco is on the road giving 7.5.
San Francisco had that 3-game stretch where they lost, but the last couple of weeks they've been hot, and Seattle has been looking terrible. So I am going to take San Francisco.
I'm with you, man. This is San Francisco has been warming back up again, and Seattle's been they've been a little shaky lately. And I think this is a game where San Francisco come back in and be like, "Hey, this is our division. Let me just remind you."
Right.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. Hopefully, we get back together before Sunday, and until then, man, I'm wishing you a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody that supports us, man. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and spread the word, man. If you like what you're hearing with us, spread the word. Make us popular. Get us out there. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Peace.
Happy Thanksgiving. Be good.